That's the sound. All
I
right.
like the little robot saying, recording in progress. Let's go.
I'm excited for this one. I'm bringing you this week on the Punks on Pizza podcast, a relic from the Peterborough punk
Oh
scene,
my God.
Mr. Piss Locust, the dictator of the House of Locust,
Uh,
Mr. Brad Dad. How you doing, Dad Brad?
a relic. I don't know how to take that. It kind of hurts, but it's almost complimentary at the same time. I'll just appreciate you having me here, especially after Jackie. Oh my God. That was like all your podcasts. You're just like, oh, prepare for this. And I went and watched all your podcasts and they were great, but Jackie was the best. Jackie was by far the best.
Oh, well, Jackie's a treat. I mean,
He was awesome. I loved it. I honestly loved it. I watched the whole thing almost.
oh, no, I was in shock and awe that I even got to do it.
I don't know. How did you get to do that? Okay, let's not make it about him. I'm here. Let's make it about me. Forget Jackie. We've moved on. I assume you mentioned in the podcast with him, he was your childhood hero. I assume you've moved on to your current hero, me. Okay, here we go.
All right, Brad.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you, thank you. Let's start with this then. All right, Peterborough, Piss Locusts. People checking into the podcast, I'm sure some of them will know what we're talking about. How did that start?
Probably most of them. It started, like college, man. It was college. A bunch of friends and I got together after first year, and we said, let's find a place together. And so we did. And like they saw me in college kind of take charge in group projects, and they said, let's put Brad in charge of it. And I was in charge of it, and I went and I found a place. I looked at like 30, 40 places, which is kind of unheard of for people looking for apartments or townhouses or whatever. And I found the perfect place. The landlord wanted 1 extra month, and we like before we moved in, and I had to convince everyone, say, let's pay this extra month. This place is worth it. This place is worth it. And I convinced them to, and we paid an extra month. And we like the first shows we did was to each other, like in the living room with no furniture, just like jamming in a circle, like a hippie circle, and it was great. We knew like it was going to be a great place. And ever since, like at least 2 people have that number tattooed on them, 352, just because of that place.
What year was that? That would have been what, 2014, 15, a little
Listen,
earlier?
If this is going to be a podcast where you ask me years and dates and names, this isn't going to work. I don't remember shit. That's how you know we had a good time. I don't remember any of that. It was somewhere around 2014, 2013, something like that.
Okay, because I was going to say it had been happening a while, and then I moved in around 2016.
You were around before you moved in, though, for sure. I definitely, I don't remember too many faces, but I remember a lot of long hair. And you had a lot of long hair. You were there.
In the Peterborough scene, when you were first starting out there, who were some of the bands that had already been active and going that you were looking to kind of get involved with?
There's no band we were looking to get involved with. We just wanted to play music. Like we just wanted to go somewhere that would accept our music. And Peterborough happened to be the perfect breeding ground for that. Like it was kind of insane. And this will get into stories later, depending on how long we go on. But like the Spill, you remember, the Pig's Ear, you remember, and we both have good and bad memories of those places, I know. But they were just the places that would allow us to play. Like you would go and book a show there, and they wouldn't ask to see your music. Like they would just be like, okay, what time do you want? I'd be like, oh, like fucking Tuesday. Yeah, and then you'd go and show up on a Tuesday and you'd play, Like it was I'd never heard of anywhere like that. And of course, both those places are shut down now.
Was that where you got your chops then, so to speak? Was that where you started out?
I never got chops. I think we both know that. I specifically selected bass because I could not play music. I really wanted to play music. I wanted to be in a band. I was in college. Or this was even before college, though. Like I just wanted to play music. It wasn't, for me, as lame as it sounds, it wasn't necessarily about the music. It was about the scene and the friendships and the show and all the stuff that surrounded it. That's what made it for me. and that's what motivated me. And really, where I got my chops, if I had any, was alone in my bedroom, just playing over and over, writing music over and over. That's where I got it. And the reward was playing at places like the Spill, small town venues like the Pigs Ear and stuff like that. It was, and it was, it was like playing the big leagues for us. It was like, I can't believe we got this far. I can't believe we're playing in front of real people. Like that was it. And that's all it ever was. And it was, honestly, it was great. Really
Well, I remember, tell me if you remember this. I remember you guys standing around in a bit of disbelief after some Trent associated battle of the bands at Red Dog that you guys won. You remember what I'm talking about?
The worst part about that, and I hope Jesse sees this one day. The worst part about that was how Jesse just started jumping and screaming like a girl. He was so happy that we won. He was just like, yeah, guys, we did it. And it made me happy. Like in being facetious, in his defense, it made me happy because I don't know. I always try to play it so cool. Like as like, oh, we won, whatever, But like in reality, we're like, oh my god, that was one of our best band memories. Is that we won? It was amazing. It means nothing. Like it really does. Like every band there was better than us, Tyler. You know that. I think you were there for that, right?
Yeah.
So like they were better than us. But we brought energy. And you know what I did? You know what a fucking secret I did? By the way, it's okay to swear on this podcast. Of course it is. Okay, we brought a fucking secret to that show. I handed the judges like we played I think 3 songs for our set. I handed the judges 3 pages of lyrics. I gave them our lyrics, like each one. Like as in I was in school. Like I was handing in an assignment before we went on stage. I handed each one of the judges 3 pages, each page with each song's lyrics on it. And I swear to God, that did it. Like they'd never seen that before. I think they liked the lyrics. It's the only thing I ever thought I was good at was writing lyrics. And I think that was part of what won it for us. And our energy on stage was probably like the number one thing. And that's what punk will give you. It'll give you energy if you have it. And if you just let it flow through, you'll be all good. And Cam was a big part of that too. Cameron, and our drummer too. Oh my God. Let's call it Jesse. Jesse was the talent. He didn't matter. In punk, the talent doesn't matter. It's all about the energy, the people who just bring the show. But we had a blast. Honestly, it was an insane blast. I couldn't believe we won. We had participated in Battle of the Bands, I think 1 or 2 years before that, and we came second or third each year. And we couldn't believe we came second and third. And we were just like, wow, like how fucking lucky are we to come second and third? And as soon as they named the third place band, we were like, oh, we didn't get third this year, like that sucks, but whatever, fucking still a great show, like it was awesome. And then they named second place band, and we're like, we know it's not us, but that's fine. And then they named first place band, and it's us. And then Jesse just lost it, Cam just lost it. It was insane. And they actually came up to me. I was a bit of a dick about it. They came up to me and they said, oh, the band that wins, like you guys won, you get to play an extra set. And I looked at, this is me being all like egotistical, like looking at the set. I've been playing a few shows now. I looked at the set, looked at the stage. I said, you guys aren't ready like for another set. Like there's no equipment set up. Like everyone's hyped up. It's going to take 30 minutes to set up the show. People are going to leave. Like we'll play another set, but this isn't going to work. And they're like, well, do you agree to it or don't you? Like she said that to me. She's like, do you agree or don't you? And I was like, put on the spot. And in her defense, that was the right thing to say. I was like, yeah, I agree. We'll do it. And it took like 30 minutes to set it up, but people stayed and they had a great time. It was great.
No, I remember that. I remember this band that came second was Television Road, and when their name was announced, I remember you just shaking your head like, no.
Yeah, that's it. A way better band. Yeah, and even I can't remember the third place guys, but everyone in that competition was so good, and we had a really good time. The best part about the Red Dog was the back room. This is the only place, maybe one of 3 or 4 venues where we actually had like our own green room, like our own space for the bands, and that's where the party was.
All right, now was gonna ask you. You were saying that it was during the college days. Were you all in college together? Because this is something I don't know how. Was there like a online posting looking for each bandmate?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there was. I've totally forgot about that. I shook my head as like online posting. I don't remember that. But no, you're absolutely right. Cameron, we called him our Kijiji baby. because he everyone else was just like a friend, you know. I moved to Peterborough and I made friends with Devin Kehoe, who was in my first year college, and he told me he played music, but like wasn't really into it anymore. And I knew I was obsessed with like other bands, and I wanted to start a band myself. And when he said he had another guy who was like into music, like into playing it live and stuff like that, I sought him out, and that turned out to be Jesse. And Jesse was just a talent. He could play anything. You know, he could play drums, he could play guitar, and like any instrument, he could fucking play it. And he did often. So that worked out. So Jesse and I got together. We were the first guys. We jammed in my living room, and we're like, we have to find another guy. Like two people isn't a band, and that was basically how the band started. We're like, yeah, two doesn't make sense. So we put up an ad on Kijiji, and we went through a few people for sure. A few really good people, a few really nice people actually. None of them great at music, and we needed like Cameron and I were not great musicians, so we were looking for someone who was good, who could kind of pick up the slack, if you know what I mean, right? Like you know, in punk, you pump up the gain, and as long as one instrument is doing it, as long as the rhythm section is doing it, you're probably going to be fine. But you need that one, at least one guy to stand out. And I was a singer as well, and I couldn't sing, so we were just looking for a guy who could kind of do it. And instead of finding that guy, we found Cameron. But you know what it was in the end is like, first of all, Cameron was good enough, let's put it that way, and he was just a friend. Like clearly the first time he showed up, you know, I don't want to say love at first sight, but it's like band love at first sight. Like we knew it's like, oh, this guy, you know, he's cool with the rest of us, you know, this is gonna work. And we had played with a lot of people who were way more talented, way less talented too, of course, and we just knew Cameron was gonna work. He was, you know, and he did for a long time. Well, 3 years.
And Craig on drums.
Are you reading off questions, or are you
Nope.
just rolling it?
Nope,
Because man,
this is all in there. But no, I want to say Craig was a
getting to me.
powerhouse on drums, and then he just completely disappeared after Piss Locust. How did you find
Yeah.
Craig, and what happened there? What'd you do to scare him away, Brad?
So you're gonna hurt me for a second here. Craig was man, Craig was special. Craig was really good. Tight drummer. And we got Craig not through Kijiji or any online ad. At that time, we were playing around town, and people knew of us. We knew other bands, and you know, at that time, you can just poach people. You can, and I don't mean poach people in a bad way. Like if you know, the local scene, if you steal a drummer from someone else, they still drum for the band, the previous band. They just also drum for you, you know. And literally, you guys can play the same night, and he'll just drum for both bands. And that's exactly what we did. So he was the drummer for Broken Foot, of course, and then he became our drummer as well because we thought he was really good. His big, I don't want to say downfall because that wasn't it, but like his, I don't know what to say, but like his big grinder was he was young. He was way younger than us, and he wasn't into like the kind of drug scene as we were. The drug and alcohol. He didn't like drug and alcohol, and that wasn't a problem per se. But when you drink and get high with people until like 10 in the morning, you build a connection with them. Like there's no doubt about that, right? Like you just do. And for us, we weren't becoming famous. We weren't going to be anything special, so our priority was to have fun. And when we figured out how we could have fun, Craig, you know, he was part of being a good band. He wasn't a part of that late night have fun scene. That said, we did get him drunk a few times, and he was amazing. But Craig, in honest, full honesty here, our best band lineup was with Craig as our drummer. Jesse on lead guitar, Cameron rhythm guitar, of course me bass and singing. That was the best we ever were in our band by far.
You know what?
And I regret. I eventually I kicked him out of the band, and I regret that for sure. That was a mistake.
Oh, how'd that conversation go? Why did you come to that conclusion?
Well, the conversation was not good. At that point, I was kind of being a landlord of our little home, right? Our little House of Locusts. And I was used to kicking people out of stuff, to put it frankly. It makes me sound like a dick, but, you know, if people do fucked up shit in your house and you're responsible for it, you have to kick them out. And I'd done that a ton of times up until that point, or into that point. So I was used to kicking people out of stuff, and it was not hard to kick them out, but it was in retrospect a bad decision. But the reason why I did it was because a friend of ours, like going back to that original conversation, a friend of ours came in, and he was really talented on guitar, couldn't play drums, but talented on guitar, a bit of a metalhead. And so we had him in, and we just said, we're gonna take friendship over talent, and that's what we did. And it was a huge mistake, but it is what it is, and it's hard to say this because I'm not sure if it's exactly true, but I'm sure the band would have ended regardless of whether or not if it was Craig or Steve that came in. Probably.
That brings me to the next question. Actually, I wanted to talk about Steve getting in there, and how, because I know he came down from Oshawa, essentially, right?
The Schwiggity, yeah.
Did he come from a band, or did he just play and come to you guys like, hey?
Well, he definitely played music. I feel like he played music in a group before too. I'm not 100% sure about that, but he could play music. There's no doubt. Like he was, again, we were always looking. We had the three of us. Jesse was good. Cam was not great. I was not great. We always needed talent in the band, and Steve brought that, and Craig brought that too in two different ways. One's a lead guitarist and one's a drummer, right? So like, what do you go with? Ultimately, the drummer is always more important. But like, again, we're not like, I was never silly enough to think we're going to be making it here. I was always saying, let's have fun. But the best we can do is have fun. I wish it lasted a bit longer, but we did that. We had fun. But I didn't enjoy it when Steve joined. As much as I love Steve, and he was into metal. It was a different style. His leads were very metal. The scales he played were very metal, and it just wasn't me. Jesse, it's egotistical when you kind of run a band, as it were, because they're kind of, you write the songs, you sing the songs, all the lyrics and everything. You become the captain, and when someone isn't playing to that, it's hard to be cohesive. It's hard to play along and make it work. It's that simple. Again, it's nothing against Steve, because again, I legitimately love the guy. He was hilarious, by the way. Like in practice, he was the best. Just cracking jokes, making fun. And I've got tons of videos in quote unquote preparation for this podcast. I was going through my old videos of just House of Locust stuff, like our old parties and things like that, and lots of them were just Steve screwing around, and it just made me smile. Like the guy's hilarious. I hope he's still that way. But ultimately, like, where I felt the most comfortable was with Craig drumming, and I think he knew that, because like probably like a year or two later, I'd get really drunk at like 1 a.m. and send him a text and be like, "You are our best drummer ever, man. I totally miss you." I've definitely sent a couple of those, and I have no shame about it, because he was great. We miss him, and again, it's the old cliche. It is what it is. What are you going to do? At least we have those memories, and thank God we got a lot of recordings from it too. Maybe not enough, maybe too many, but we had a lot of fun.
That was the next thing I wanted to go to, was recording. Now, I remember you guys went away to do an extensive recording of an album, and then that album ended up, I'll let you take it from there.
I have two regrets. One, like almost in life, like I'm not a guy who regrets stuff, but I have two regrets associated with that band. And one of them was kicking Craig out. The other was not finishing that album. What a stupid thing to do. Yeah, and just as I mentioned, I was going through old videos to think about what to talk about during this podcast, and I came up on all those old recordings, those old bits. When you record an album, and it's all cut in pieces, and if you stop an album halfway through, it's kind of a just jumbled mess of files everywhere. Like a guitar lead here, a drum clip there, like all that stuff, and that's all I have now. And we selected 12 or 13 songs that were going to be that album, and fuck, man, why did we not finish that? And me, why did I not finish that? Like, I definitely let the band down in that regard. And if Cam and Jesse are watching, I definitely apologize for that. That was a stupid thing to do. It's something I wish I could go back on, but we just can't.
Was there any fear of success? Because you seem to drive home the point that like you guys were humble, small town, weren't ever going to do anything big. And then as you started getting known, you pulled the rug out from under yourself, so to speak.
Well, it was a paradox because that's what made it good. If you're now, I shouldn't say that because it's not entirely true. There's no general rule to music where it applies to everyone. But for us, the magic recipe was just enjoying the moment, enjoying the small shows. But in my head, I was writing songs like we were playing to an amphitheater. Like I was writing songs like the best songs I possibly could. Like we were rich and famous, and people knew us and all that stuff. When I put pen to paper, that's what I was thinking about. Not because it was like an egotistical thing, and this might be hard to believe, but because it was like I owe it to our mass audience that doesn't exist, but in my mind I made it exist. But at the same time, when we went to those small shows, like I wasn't psychotic. I knew we were playing small shows, and I knew this is probably going to be it for the most part, unless we really pushed it. And even then, it's like 0.01% chance of making it anywhere. And we knew to enjoy the moment, and I think that really helped. And going back to that Battle of the Bands we won, man, I can't emphasize enough how much that just enjoying the moment thing helped us be who we were in the best way possible. Like yeah, we had a lot of fun on stage. Not always, and you'll see shows. Oh man, we talked about regrets. Some of the biggest regrets are what a piece of shit I acted like on stage. Like I still think about it. I hope. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point during this podcast, but I hope you weren't there for some of those shows, because I've never felt so bad as a human being before, like just acting the way I did on stage. Like sometimes even being in front of an audience, like in command of a room of 20 people, you can let it go to your head. And that's a horrible thing.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've taken advantage of that, puked on a few floors, stripped a little more nude than you would normally at the bar.
I think well, no, I shouldn't say everyone has, but yeah, you're vulnerable in a weird way. You're vulnerable when you're up there. Like you can let the forces of nature, as it were, take over. It's very easy to let them take over, and you have to be careful as best as possible. Some people aren't. There's the Axl Rose type kind of it's a cliche. You sometimes it just gets the better of you, and sometimes it becomes you. I don't think I got that far for sure. At least I hope I didn't get that far. But there's definitely a few times there did, and thankfully, going through those videos today of our old recordings, it was never captured on tape. Thank God. Man, they were bad. There was times like I think the one time, probably the worst time, is when we had, I forget what I was never into metal. Oh, that's not true. I like metal a little bit, but like the kind of the pop metal. But there's a metal band that played before us at the Spill, and they were so fucking good. I've been to a lot of concerts. I've been to a lot of festivals. I'd never seen a band so goddamn captivating before. Like I was literally watching them. My jaws were open. Like I was blown away. I couldn't believe. I wish I could remember the name. I've got their CD in my car, but my car doesn't even have CD player anymore, but I still have their CD. But they were just unbelievable. And we had to follow them. And I was so upset about that, because I was like, there is 0% chance we will be a good band after this band. Like that was one of the best things I've ever seen live. And like there's 0% chance. So I got up on stage and I sulked, and I was like, don't want to be here. And like people could tell, like the audience is not dumb. Like they can tell. And one of the worst things I ever did, Cam, like one of my best friends during that time when we were playing music together, sometimes when you play bass, especially if you play bass as bad as I do, you get a little bit bloody on your fingers, right? I think I dropped my pick and I was playing with my fingernail basically, and like, you get into it. And anyways, my fingers started to bleed, and between songs we like to banter and stuff like that. And I looked down during our banter and I saw my blood all over my finger, and I for whatever reason, I just like sucked it up and spit it in Cam's face, like spit blood in his face on the stage. And at that moment, I knew exactly what I did. And I was just like, what a piece of shit you are. Like, that's what I was thinking to myself. And I was just like, I hope he hits me. I hope he punches me in the face, because that's what I deserve right now. And of course, Cam being Cam, it just lets it blow over his head, and he doesn't give a fuck. Like can't like props to him is like he just let it go. And if Cameron, if you're watching and you want to punch me in the face, still I will allow it because you deserve it. I still think about that and what a piece of shit I was. And it didn't end there. Like one of our biggest fans, you remember Jasmine at the time, almost like a groupie. She walked out on the show, like loved our band, and she could tell like I was being such a prick and I was being such an asshole. I was in such a bad mood. She walked out, and we could see her walk by the stage out, and she clearly on her face was like, "What are you doing?" You know, and she left. And that night after the show, it was a local show, so I had maybe a 10-minute walk back home, and about 100 yards from the house, I was walking through a park, and I just threw my bass on the ground, and I shit you not, Tyler, I kicked my bass back home. I kicked it all the way back home. I was so upset with myself. I was so upset with the night. I'd never felt so low before. And looking back on that, I realized my reaction to the situation was so much worse than the situation itself. That like this amazing, by the way, I enjoyed the band before us. I thought they were great. Like, but that was the problem, is like I thought they were so great. I was like, we look like shit and we are shit. And I just felt like shit. And it just carried all the way through. And it manifested in this horrible behavior of mine, which now I can look back on it and hopefully learn a lesson from. Kind of like now I'm following the great Jackie the Joker, or whatever the fuck his name is, and I can be like, well, I don't have to throw a tantrum now. I can kind of just enjoy it. And I really, by the way, of course, I said already, I really did enjoy that podcast with him. That was awesome. I loved it. I hope there's more podcasts like that with you in the future. That was great.
Yeah, hey, me too. Me too. I've got another one booked for next weekend with I'm not gonna get into who,
No
but
spoilers.
a drummer from an old band, 80s band that I absolutely love. So I'm looking forward to it. It's been great.
I feel like that would mix well with you. The I don't know how old he was, like 70, 75. I'm bad with ages, but Jackie.
75.
Yeah. There you go. I'm not that bad after all. I felt like you guys meshed pretty well. I feel like you're an old man trapped in long hair. I think it was your style. If you had more of that, I think it really jams well.
I don't want to.
Let me tell you how to run your podcast. Look at me, Tyler. I am the captain now.
No, I don't want to fall into the old trope of nothing but a bunch of old white folks on the podcast,
No, forget that. It's whatever's good, man. It's whatever's good, You know what you need is bad brains. If they're still alive, they got to be old by now, if not dead.
All right, so fuck, I just had it and I lost it there. We were talking about other bands in the scene. All right, what I want to talk to you about specifically now, Bates from the great ELE. Were you familiar with Snow Aurora before ELE? I know Cam was. I was just wondering if you were.
You're literally blowing my mind right now. You're asking these questions that are like, they're getting legitimately to my soul. I'm not just saying that. Aurora Snow and their album "Open Your Vaginas," and I pronounced that correctly, is that my second favorite album of all time, after a NoFX album. Brandon Bates is a legitimate hero of mine. He lyrics were everything to me. Like it was the only thing I could do. Like I sucked at music. I sucked at bass. I was like a 2 out of 10 in writing songs. Like I wasn't that good at anything. But now that I've been humble, I can brag a bit. I was a decent lyricist, and I appreciated other lyricists. And Brandon Bates, he was fucking good. Like he was good. And as bad as it sounds, like he's the guy that convinced me that good lyrics come from suffering. I had a tough childhood. He had a tough childhood. He wrote some really good fucking songs out of it. And you got to make the best out of what you can. And he really, really did. And honestly, I'm sure I've told him wasted at 3 a.m. sometimes, but let me tell him now, semi sober. And man, Brandon, he was the best. He's my hero. He was great. He's the local Fat Mike to me. I can't speak highly enough of him. So yes, I'm aware of Aurora Snow. His first show I think I ever went to was Aurora Snow, and by show I mean a living room or maybe even a kitchen in a house down the street from us. And I was probably like, it was this, I remember it very clearly. It was just like this small, I think it was the living room between the kitchen and like another living room or something like that. Wait, do you remember that place where Crystal used to live?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
house. Yeah, that house. That's where I first saw them, in this little room between the kitchen and the living room. You probably know what I'm talking about. So I saw them there. It's like this little room. The drums and the band, excuse me, took up like 3/4 of the room. And I was one of like the three guys just standing in there for probably a good hour, just watching them, being amazed. And I think they were just happy to have an audience member of, instead of people just walking into the kitchen to get beers, you know. And it was amazing. I know their drummer was I was gonna say a little weird. He was fucked up. Like, he was a weird dude. I forget his name. I don't know if you remember him or not, but
Is that a Blaster you're talking about?
no,
Or
it was before
no?
Blaster. Yeah, Blaster. Well, Blaster was weird too, but this guy was weirder. How PC are we supposed to be on this podcast? Because we could get in some stories there about their previous drummer. You edit this, right?
Very little. You know, this is my stance on it. Is like you can say whatever. I'm not in the business of censorship. So I'm not here to sugarcoat you. If you say something horrendous, I'm not here to. You say whatever the fuck you want. It'll fall on you. No,
Well, okay.
I'm sure of it.
That was just a litmus test then. He did a lot of cocaine, like a lot, like a lot, and it showed. He was the first guy. I've been around a lot of people who did cocaine, and it was never a drug that was like horrible to me. It was like, you know, people did it and they got some energy and whatever. They stayed up late and that was about it, you know. But he did it, like, you know. And he would, I don't want to say addict, like I don't know anything about addiction or anything like that, right? But like, he was in it, you know, for good. And I hope he's clean or whatever it takes for him to do whatever it is. But like, here's the flip side: it made him a fucking good drummer. You know, kind of reminds me of like Eric Sandin doing heroin and NoFX. It's like, whatever was in that drug, it worked for him. Like, it did. But he was also the first guy that showed me like drugs can be pretty fucking bad. Even though he wasn't like, and I don't want to paint him like he was stabbing people for fucking pocket change for drugs or anything like that. You know, he'd just be the guy you'd sit down at next to the party, you know, and he'd be grinding his teeth really hard. He'd be telling really fast stories, not making much sense. And you just be like, man, this guy's in his own mind. Like, he's not here right now. And I came across that quite a few times in the music scene, but you know, usually by the same handful of people. And you know, it is what it is. But he was a good drummer. And Aurora Snow is that album. Another cliche punk song to name drop one song in particular. It's my anthem. Like, unbelievable. Yeah. Oh wait, and which reminds me, not to point out the whole meta of the podcast. We're gonna flip to some songs at some point, right? Where we can like pause and listen. I don't think we can, but like the audience can. Is that right?
That is true. Yep. I'll edit them in there. I'll let you set them up and everything.
That's the setup. Go listen to that song. If I'm the guest, I say, okay, what's your inspiration come from? It's NoFX, Fat Mike, and this song. Another cliche punk song, which I believe is on Bandcamp. So if you want to go find it, I can download it for you too. That's not a problem. By Aurora Snow, not ELE, even though ELE is amazing too. Obviously, very similar people, the two same people in it. And yeah, amazing album. It's up there with all my favorite albums. And it was, and I feel like, even though I'm sure I'm completely wrong about this, I feel like it was just a great album despite it being a local band. Like, you know, if it wasn't a local band, I think they should be millionaires. That's how I feel. They should have all the money in the world because the album is that good. But you know, I've shown other people and they're like, oh yeah, it's not bad. And it's like, you realize it's kind of just speaks to you, right? Which is how music works and how inspiration works. You know, same with NoFX. Like, why I started a band in the first place is fucking Fat Mike. It sounds gay, but he just spoke to me. Like, the way he wrote lyrics, the way he played music, it just clicked. I had no control over it. It clicked on something in my brain. I said, I have to do that. Like, the reason why I started a band is I had to be Fat Mike. Like, and it was that simple to me. And you know, not many people called me a poser, but that's honestly what it was in the end. I was a poser and I was so happy to be a poser. I was so proud of it. I just wanted to be like Fat Mike. And you know what? I knew that because we were so bad as musicians and he was so good, if I tried to be like Fat Mike, there's no chance I would be like him. So if I tried to be like him, our band won't sound like him because we're so bad. And that's exactly what I did. And it kind of worked. It kind of worked. Like I was just like, I'm going to try and write a song like Fat Mike would. And there's no way I can do that. So if I try, I'm going to fail, but it'll sound different. And that's exactly what we did.
Do you keep in touch with
Fat Mike? Oh, every day.
any of the boys from ELE or anybody that you used to play with back in the day? You keep in
No.
touch with any of them?
I shouldn't say no. No ELE guys. I mean, Blaster's an awesome dude. We were not on the same level. Shaner, one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, right? Like he's the perfect example of a guy who looks like he's on steroids, which I'm sure he's not. But he could kick the shit out of anyone, and never would kick the shit out of anyone.
Sweetheart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like he was just amazing that way. But we weren't of the same cloth, as it were. Bates and I for sure were. And we've spoken over Facebook, just like you and I have, like a couple times over the years. Mostly me, drunk late at night, being like, "Hey, man, I fucking love you." but those are cool messages to receive. I've gotten a few of those messages, and there's I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I definitely keep in touch. Like Cam and I have a similar relationship. A few messages. Like everyone's got their own life now and have kind of moved on.
People are married and have kids.
Yeah, well, that's a mistake. No one should do that. But no, I'm joking, obviously, and yeah, like everyone's doing their own thing. Like fucking Jesse's. Oh no, I can't say that. But yeah, everyone's doing their own thing, and it's fucking great. And what else can you do? But as far as keeping in touch, like there's a few people I've kept in touch with more than others. Callum, in particular, you remember Callum?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from Legal to 11. Just the other day. And maybe I really wanted to get into like a lyrical analysis, and maybe you don't want to do that because it's super boring, but it's exciting to me. But Callum and I were doing that the other day, and he released this new not a song, but like a clip of a song on Instagram. Fucking kids, right? And it sounded great, as much of his music does. And I listened to it. I said, Callum, that's great. As Fat Mike would say, stop fucking writing songs about girls and love. Like no one cares. And he's like, but he's very, he's not a dumb dude. And he's like, that's what speaks to me. That's what motivates me. And I said, that's great. That's what motivates everyone. Like that's what speaks to everyone. And anyone can write a love song. It's not hard. We all feel love or heartbreak or connection with people. Like there's nothing wrong with writing songs like that. But at the same time, it's kind of the easy way out if all you write is like love songs and songs about your girlfriend and stuff like that. Like try to think about something else, something deeper, a deeper connection than that. I'm not saying like that's worthless. That's not the right word, but I'm not saying that's like a bad thing. Do that, but don't make all your songs that. In fact, make a small fraction of your songs love songs. And this is of course my opinion, dude, like just my opinion, obviously. But like you got to write about bigger things, especially in punk. Like no one wants to hear you write about your girlfriend over and over, right? And Callum, if you're listening, fucking write some songs that aren't about your girlfriend. Because he's great. I don't know. I mean, again, I'm biased. I love Callum. He's got a great voice. Sid Vicious is kind of his idol, and he's got a good Sid Vicious voice, and he does great covers. He's got a raspy voice, and he's got some skill and some rhythm. He's got to write some good songs.
He plays better than Sid Vicious.
Who's that?
I said he plays better than Sid Vicious.
Oh God, yeah. Holy shit, was that guy bad?
All right, so when Piss Locust, when they started to reach their end, what was the defining moment for you that this wasn't going to get picked up and carried on anymore?
As the cliche answer goes, it was not a straw that broke the camel's back. It was just a collection of things. If I was to sum it up in one word, it'd be the lifestyle. The lifestyle was not for me. When my idol Fat Mike and NoFX, like I watched him play live shows, and I watched him play in front of people and sing the songs he really cared about. And that's the stuff I saw, and I thought that's really fucking cool, and I want to do that. And so I started doing that, and that was cool, and it was awesome. what I didn't realize, there's a shit ton that goes around that, like sleeping on people's floors, doing way too many drugs and alcohol way too often, being around people who are like way too fucked up or in it for weird or wrong reason. Well, not wrong or right or anything like that, but reasons that you don't understand. Everything got to me. Like everything, like the people were. I loved our fans, but man, when some of your biggest fans are people you don't relate to and you don't really like them, it's weird. It's a weird feeling. And I can't be more honest than that. I just didn't like people who liked us, and it just felt wrong. I felt like we should have been playing in our living room to our friends the whole time. And the more people who started to watch us, the more disconnected I felt from the audience. And that was weird to me. That was very weird to me. I don't think I was a person who was primed for fame or proper for fame or whatever the phrase is. It just didn't feel right. And I was tired. more than anything, I was fucking tired. Like playing 3 shows in a row was exhausting. And now you look at like famous bands now, they play 6-7 shows a week in a row, especially bands who are struggling. Like, you know, there are famous bands you and I know like really well, like Pennywise, who you kind of see them as famous, but at the same time, they're blue collar working bands. Like they have to work like they have to tour 7 months of the year, playing 6 shows, 6 shows a week. And like that's fucking hard. Like people don't understand, and I didn't understand how hard that was. And I did, and don't get me wrong, I did not do that. I did a small fraction of that. Like we toured Southern Ontario for like 4 nights in a row, and I was exhausted. I had to sleep for 2 days after that. Like when you go and play a show, you're the band, you're the party guys, and you gotta stay up and party. You gotta be there, and that's part of kind of the brand. To put it in a really weird corporate way, is people expect that of you. And that expectation kind of feeds into you just doing it because it is what it is, or it's what you should do. And that had its toll over time. And I remember we were playing in Toronto, and I remember singing on stage. It was a very weird feeling for me, singing on stage. I don't remember what song we were playing. It was in the middle of a set in Toronto, and I just said, "This is it. I'm done. This is our last show." And I knew it, and it was our last show. It was just too much. Like too many things had gotten to me.
Okay, then with that being the reason, I gotta ask, because there was a short-lived thing, and now this is real deep weeds. Most people don't even know about this. Your NoFX cover band that was short-lived.
I don't want to talk about that. That was horrible. Listen, okay, so Sean was your first guest. Yeah. Sean has a lot of great qualities. I really like Sean's energy. Good drummer, fast drummer. We didn't click. It was that simple. You know what it was? I'll take the blame for this one, as I should. If I'm not writing the songs, if I'm not leading the band artistically, I can't be in that band. I never knew that well as playing music, but I know that now looking back. Is like I just need to be that guy. Like I need to be the guy expressing my own ideas through music. And even with a cover band of music I like, I didn't have that motivation because I wasn't writing the songs. It wasn't me expressing myself artistically, as gay as that sounds, as whatever it sounds. I needed that expression. And like I said before, like my lyrics is what kept me going. It's the only thing I thought I had any talent in. And which was ridiculous that I picked punk, because you can't hear any of the lyrics in punk. But maybe it was like rebellious. It's like, I'm gonna write the best lyrics that I think I possibly can in the genre of which you can't hear the lyrics. I was like screwing myself over from the start. But I don't know. To put it short, the NoFX cover band was it was short-lived, to say the least. But fun. I mean, it's all fun, right? We had a good time. Alcohol helped.
Talked a lot about it.
Especially with Sean. By the way, Sean has gained some weight. Can we just point that out?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He used to be a skinny little guy. Sure. I saw him in your recent podcast. I'm not going to stand up because then you can turn that around on me. But anyways, but I did have fun with Sean. Yeah, it was a good time. I'm not sure if anyone else joined that band. It might have just been a drummer and a bass player.
No, there was a guitarist. I'm blanking on who, but there was definitely a guitarist there.
There might have been a couple, honestly. We might have gone through a few. It was usually, I think one guy came in. This is gonna sound so bad, but he was Mexican, and I was like, "Oh, Mexican! He's like El Jefe from NoFX. We should get him." But he's like, "No, this isn't for me." I was like, "That's fair. That's fair."
You know what?
And, you know,
That
it
every
wasn't
punk
enjoyable.
band I've seen from Mexico is fucking fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. Have you been listening to Fat Mike's podcast, Fat Mike's Fat Mike, or something like that?
I'm not a fan of the guy.
I know. You should. This is supposed to be part of your research into this podcast. Come on, you're asking all these like soul depriving questions about like my old past and shit like that. You don't know that like, the band I like has a podcast out. Come on, man. Where's your research department?
All right. Well, with your troubles keeping a band together and working with other people, when's the Bradley Cokie the Clown project coming out?
I already did it. That's been done. Yeah, we did that. It was great. I felt awesome. Cokie the Clown. I dressed up like Cokie the Clown as best I could.
You didn't do a solo show though, did you?
No. Well,
Yeah.
we did a show in Oshawa. It was a Halloween gig, or a couple, maybe a couple of years in a row. I probably dressed up a couple of years in a row, the same thing. Yeah, but it was amazing. Oh, that reminds me of this one time where we showed up for a show, and I was like the Cokie the Clown guy who plays bass, and my bass didn't work. I couldn't figure out what it was, and we were playing with another band who was up behind us, after us, and I was like, "Hey man, can I borrow your bass? Mine's not working. I can't figure it out. I don't know what's going on." Which in any scenario, if you're not a musician, is like, it's not a problem. Like they just give you your bass, they give you your patch cord. Like musicians generally, especially at that level, are very sharing, very, just dude, of course. Like, what can I do to help you? This guy was like, no. I was like, no, what? And he's like, no, I'm not giving you my bass. I was like, no, mine broke down. I just got to use yours just for the set. He's like, no, I can't do it. You can't touch my bass. I was like, okay. So I just went up there and with no guitar, which I've never done before, and just singing. And it was the most awkward fucking show I'd ever played in my life. Because as you know, I cannot sing. And it was weird. It was weird as hell. And I'm certain there's a video of that somewhere. But don't look it up because it hurts to watch. And I didn't know what to do with my hands. Like I'd never before in my life played a show where I'm not playing an instrument at the same time, as singing. Or you're almost always playing an instrument. No, you sing sometimes. Even as a lead singer, you sing not always. And I just didn't know what to do with my hands, so I was like grabbing the mic. In fact, I went into the mosh pit for like a couple minutes, and I was like, "Oh, that'll eat up some time." And it's like, "Shit, this is like a 40-minute set. Like, what am I gonna do with my hands this whole time?" I made it work in the end, I assume. But it was weird. But that's an example of someone being a dick. But it must have been an expensive guitar or something. Like I still don't know why he wouldn't just let me use his guitar, especially a bass. Come on, man. It's not like I'm gonna be like fucking hitting the thing. But anyways, it was fun.
I remember Cody running into that a few times when his guitar would break down.
Some pompous assholes out there. But like honestly, it is, you know what I ran in with that most is people with amps and people with drums. The drummers were probably the nicest people out there, to be honest. But sometimes they were just like, nope, can't use my drum set. Because when we're small time, you go to a show and there's 4 or 5 bands playing or more. Usually just one drummer sets up his drums and everyone plays it. Sometimes a drummer's particularly wants to play on his own set, and that's fine. He's got to do the work to put up his own set. But most of the time, everyone's satisfied with just playing this other guy's drums. But sometimes, the drummer would go up to the drummer that played before them and be like, "Hey man, can I use your drums? Like, just want to play our set." He's like, "Nope, breaking them down." And you just take them away. And you're like, "Okay, whatever." But no, some people are just attached to the instruments, and that's fine. I certainly was never attached to mine, considering the kicking the bass down the road story before.
Speaking of attachment to your instruments, you were talking about Piss Locust was best in your bedroom, and if you got your chops anywhere, it was playing in your bedroom.
Yeah.
What's your bass been doing since you left the House of Locust? Do you pick it up ever?
Nope, I don't touch it. Honest. Oh, that's not true. I pick it up once a month max, and it's really just to reminisce. Yeah, I'm really out of that scene. In fact, when you asked me to be on this podcast, I was like, I don't play anymore. I haven't played in years. Um,
Your
but
words
I
were, I'm a non-musical bitch now.
yes, that sounds about right. But what made, and of course a couple days later I was like, you know what, I think I will come on if you'll have me. And I think what a big part of that was I just wanted to kind of show the side of someone who got in and got out, like not like it's a drug habit or anything like that, but I think that's an important side of the music scene. I think that's a really common side of the music scene. I'm just some dude. I played in college. I had a really good time with it. We gained a little tiny bit of popularity, and now I don't do it at all. I wasn't in it for the music. I was in it for the fun. I was in it for the friendship. That's what mattered to me. And when that ended, it was enough, and I moved on. And now I'm just a normal dude with a normal job. And I think I think that's an important perspective to show, because it's probably the more common perspective than people just sticking with it forever.
I know it's been complicated the last 2 years, but have you gone out? Have you seen any small local shows? Is there any support there for the scene anymore?
Oh, stop. It's support there for the scene. I definitely, so my big thing, like, I'm an introvert. Like, my favorite thing is just looking up bands online that are underground, like Bandcamp, Reverb Nation, all that stuff. YouTube's the best, of course, and just enjoying music that very few people hear. I love that. Excuse me. But like, going to shows and stuff, it exhausts me. You went to Rockfest with us, right? Like a few times.
I went, not with you guys, but
Not with us, but you were there. Yeah, I know. I definitely remembered you there, and that is exhausting. Like, I have to sleep for like a week after that. Like, that was a festival when in its peak when we went was like 200,000 people, biggest rock festival in Canada. Um, I loved it being there. I saw all my favorite bands, Gogo Bordello, which you're looking more and more like that guy every day, just for the record. But like, Rancid, Fat Mike, all that stuff. I got to see the best bands, and I love that part of it. But holy shit, as an introvert, that sucked the life out of me. I couldn't do it, and that was an extreme example. Going to big festivals like that, but going to even to concerts for 4 or 5 hours a night, it's just really, really tiring for me. Even though I enjoy it, it's really hard to work myself up to something like that. So usually, like, honestly, like, you see me sitting here now, I really like to put my headset on, turn on the fucking 3D surround sound, and just jam out to a band that's trying to come up, and struggling. I love the struggle. That's really what it is. I like to see suffering. It's like I go to when I lived in Toronto, I'd go to comedy shows, and the best, or amateur comedy shows, I should say, like people starting out in comedy. The best part about amateur comedy shows is, for the audience, it's a win-win. On one hand, they could be funny, and that's great. On the other hand, they can completely bomb and be awkward, and that's fucking great. It's like, I watch amateur bands the same way. You can't go wrong, honestly. And well, I shouldn't say that, because sometimes they're really bad. So, but if you listen to 10 seconds of a bad band or 30 seconds of a bad band, you'll still, if you really have the right mindset, you'll still learn something from it musically. And it's a win-win situation every time. And I still do stuff like that. I definitely have gone to a few concerts. I can't remember which ones. Of course, it's been COVID for 2 years now or so. But before that, yeah, but not many. My forte is kind of the online scene, as it were.
You were saying you've been hosting amateur comedy nights. Is that what you were saying?
No, not hosting, just going.
Oh,
So yeah, and I used to live in Toronto. That was 2 years ago now, before COVID. I my sister's friend was like an amateur comedian, and he was this most awkward, it still is, this most awkward Asian guy, and he was a realtor. And we met him, and he just seemed like this very straightforward, serious guy. And he told us he was into comedy, and I thought it was the first joke he ever told. like, the serious guy into comedy, ha ha ha, okay, whatever. And then he actually did comedy. Like he went to amateur comedy shows, he stood up and performed, and it was kind of funny, and then, but when you go and you see other people there, you realize there's like a whole scene of these amateur comedians, just like amateur musicians. They're not trying to be famous, they're just trying to be funny for the people watching them in that moment, of which there are like 20, most of which are the other comedians going up that night. Like, when we started out going to our shows, when they first let us play on stage, most of the audience were the other bands playing that night and friends of them. Like, that's how you start. And I really kind of related to that in comedy, and I loved it. I thought it was like, I miss Toronto. I'd be back there now, but for other reasons. I'm in a smaller town, but I hope to be back there one day and watching shows like that, especially with this stupid pandemic being over soon, hopefully. It'd be nice, yeah, because I really miss that comedy, and especially punk, not just music, but punk in specific is they're very similar. So a lot of suffering. In a good way. If you get through the worst parts of it, you'll do fine. But it's hard to get through those parts.
Now you bring up a dismal topic with the COVID. Where's your stance on this? I'm curious. Where are you at now as we're 2+ years deep?
I have no stance. I'm definitely not interested in getting political or anything like that. But like everyone, I'm tired of it. Whether you believe in whatever mandates or don't, everyone's tired, and I'm too. It is first world to say, but I'm exhausted from all this shit. Ever since the music scene, which was, I'm just going to use it, athletic. Like, I would sweat. I'd sweat at practice. I'd sweat on stage. My heartbeat would be going every day or every other day playing music. And I don't have that. I've been sitting on my ass in this chair for a long time, and I don't like it. I'm just tired of it. Like everyone is, and I want to go out there and play sports. I want to go be social. I'm just sick of it.
You still shooting hoops?
What's that?
You still shooting hoops?
No, that was all Cameron. Cameron made me do that. But I was okay. I always thought I was better than Cameron just because I was taller than him. But no, he was the all-star basketball player. I'm sure he still is. In fact, he's probably, well, I don't know if they're back at it or not, because I played badminton a lot. Tall guys like playing badminton, and that was my jam, if you will. But no, Cameron got me into the hoops for a while. We had a basketball court right next to our house for years, of course. So we played a lot out in the summer times, hell, even in the winter time sometimes, especially with Charles Barkley out there, our House of Locust dog. We had a lot of fun. But no, I haven't done the hoops in a long time.
So how have you been? You said you're just an old man with a boring job. How have you been keeping yourself busy the last 2 years? A lot of vids.
I work, man. You don't want to go down this alley. It's so boring. I work a normal steady job. It's nice, it's relaxing, I like my job, but I definitely need something more, like, and especially with even Peterborough. Like, Peterborough, compared to where I am now, Peterborough's a happening city. So I got to get back out there, and I know I will. I just need the right opportunity, again, particularly with COVID kind of opening things up a bit, particularly like social events and things like that, to get back out there. But yeah, I'm going a little crazy. I've spent a lot of time on the computer for both work and pleasure, as it were. But no, I'm ready to get back out there. What's it like out in Vancouver for you guys?
Well, we're in Port Alberni on Vancouver Island, so it's still a good hop from Vancouver, but gorgeous, man. I mean, we had 2 weeks of snow around Christmas, and then a couple days with
that was it.
It's great. I love it. We're both working. It's been great.
You say you're both working. Who's the other?
The girlfriend, Kayla, the mother of my child.
Well, goddamn, son, you got a missus now.
Yeah, I do. How about you? I see in the bottom corner, this says Brad and Laura.
Oh, that's my mom. So my mom and I, we run a business together, and we do Zoom calls. So that was from the last Zoom call. That's why. Hi, Mom. Did I ever tell you? Well, my mom's from BC, from Vancouver, and I was born on the island as well. Comox, up in the north east. Yeah,
Yeah, that's just north of us. Yeah,
yeah. Military family, of course, right?
yeah. When did you move out of here?
I don't fucking know.
You don't remember?
No. What did I tell you? No dates, no names. Don't give me that shit.
All right. Well, maybe this one. You said there was a 4-day tour, South Ontario, Piss Locust, right?
Yes. Yep.
Any
At least, yeah.
any like true pure examples of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle of being out there on the road?
For me, the sex, drugs, and rock and roll scene was a lot of drugs, a bit of rock and roll, and very little sex. That was the sex, drugs, and rock and roll scene for me in particular. It's fast paced. Like you can make what you will of a night, but like you play, you first. Well, let's start from the start. You wake up hungover from the previous night, probably sleep till noon, 1, 2, something like that. You wake up, go out and get breakfast, hate your fucking life because you feel like shit, and you realize you have a show to play in a few hours, or in 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever, at 8, 9, 10 at night or later, and you try to pull yourself together for that. The most common way of doing that is to start drinking early. So you do that, like groggily show up to the venue, set up slowly, find a desk or table you can put your head down on for a few more minutes before you have to do anything, and play your set and party until, depending on what drug you're doing, till 1 to 10 a.m. and then start the whole thing over the next day. And man, does it ever sound cool when you do it once. and then you do it 4 times, and then you do it 4 more, and you're done. You're done in a week or two. You just want to go home. You just want to bed. You don't, like Cameron, especially. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'4", and we try to sleep on couches. We try to sleep on chairs, floors. Cameron, who had back problems at like fucking 25, scoliosis or whatever the fuck he has, he woke up in pain every morning. It's a shit show. It's horrible. This should be a podcast for why you shouldn't be in the music scene. It will fuck you up. Like part of me is like, yeah, famous musicians get paid way too much, and the other part of me is like, no, they get paid the exact right amount, because holy crap, is it hard to get through that. Like it'll tear your soul apart to do that night after night, especially when you're not an idiot and you're not going anywhere. Like you tell yourself, hey, I'm playing music for fun, and then you're trying to fall asleep at 5 a.m. on some stranger's hardwood floor with like no blankets, because who would have thought of that? And you're like, oh yeah, I'm here to have fun. And you at some point you're just like, this is not fun. Like it's just not anymore. And I realize I'm being a downer now. There's so many upsides to music, but people should see the downside too, because there is a lot of it. And of course I'm the perspective of someone who got out of it too. Okay, wait, I have to pause you there. Can we do some editing where you cut this out and I can go take a piss?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, like so. And by the way, I don't want this to be all about me too. I want to catch up with you as well. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm hosting, man. I'm the host here.
That was quick.
We're back.
You didn't give me a chance to sit down.
I must say, Brad, I'm impressed. You're getting up to go to the washroom these days.
When you said that over a Facebook, I completely reminded me of that. But you tell the people what I used to do. My dedication to the work, let's call it.
Used to leave piss jugs, apple juice at that, apple juice jugs on your desk full of hot piss.
Well, you never felt the jugs. You didn't know it was hot. Wait, did you?
You just steam in the midwinter night, though.
Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know what it was. You know what? Sometimes it was just like, it's going back to the introvert thing. I just didn't want to leave my room. There's too many people out in the hallway. Too many people wanted to start up a conversation. Like just people being nice, and me being my antisocial self. I was just like, I'm not going out there to go down the hallway of 5 people and take a piss. I'm just gonna piss in this jug.
You know what? In all
So
fairness, I can admit with my spasticness during that age, and probably not the greatest to be around for an introvert just trying to go to the bathroom and back in the middle of the night.
the nice part is, if there's any young people watching this podcast, which I'm sure there's none, except maybe Callum. Hey, Callum. It's that the nice thing about getting old is you just stop giving a fuck. Like you think you don't care when you're young. Boy, do you not care when you're old. That's kind of stuff. It's nice to be able to be fully honest about that stuff. Now it's like, I didn't piss because I just didn't want to talk to people. Like, or sorry, I didn't piss in the bathroom because I just didn't want to talk to people. Like it just not anything wrong with them or me. I just didn't want to put the energy in. Other times I would, like right now, I'm putting the energy in. I got my piss jug right here. Oh man, no, those were what a house. I mean, like I said before, what speaks to it is there's at least a few people walking around with just that the address tattooed on them, just because of the impact that house had on them, and I'm very proud of that. It was a great place.
If the wall remained when you left?
The what?
The wall you erected in the middle of the living room.
Oh God, that was the guy who took over after me. He just revamped the whole place.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
I don't know if he took it down. I don't know what he did. He definitely didn't have parties like we did. I know that. But he was just a business guy, right? Just making his money off the place. That's all. And eventually, that's what. Right now, I'm in commercial real estate, and where I kind of got the beginning of that was, in college, as I mentioned, me and my friends, our college friends, just got a house, and we all split rent evenly. And over the years, I stayed there probably 7 years. And over the years, just one guy would leave, one girl would leave, and we would just find a friend to replace them. Like you were one of those people. And then eventually it got to the point where we kind of ran out of friends. Like it sounds sad to say, but everyone was getting settled in their other ways. They had their own places. They were doing their own thing. Hell, some had kids by then, right? And, I just started renting to strangers. Basically, I started putting it up we had to rent to someone to pay the rent. And so I just started doing that. And eventually, I was the last motherfucker there. It's just me and a bunch of strangers, and a lot of them became friends too. But going through that taught me how to run something. I don't know if it was a band or a house or whatever. It taught me something about managing, and that's where I am now. That's the role I'm in now. And like I said, let's not get into that because it's just as stereotypical as you could possibly imagine. Just this guy who works a normal job now, but that's where it started, was with that house. But much more interesting than that is the stuff that happened before that, which was the good time parties, of which, by the way, so in my little preparation for this podcast, I found 3 videos that I think would be very appropriate to show, and one of them probably appropriate to show right now, which was a house party. I've got a clip from one of those house parties. I think it's going to kill me because if I get this guy wrong, TJ Champagne, I think, took the video.
Okay, yes.
Just trying to give credit where credit is due, but I could be totally wrong, and I apologize if you're watching and I was wrong. But they took this video, and it's an amazing video. And I suppose, being a little egotistical, it's of our band playing at our house. But people are just, it's the best time of our lives, Tyler. Like, you can watch the video and it just looks amazing. We were just having such a good time. Lots of people, just chilling. Some people on drugs, some people not. Some people playing music, some people jamming out, some people talking. It's just we threw the best parties. I'll just say it. They were the best. Like everyone could be comfortable. Everyone was welcome and everyone was comfortable. There's very few times when those parties, and we had several over the years, there's very few times when those parties either got out of hand or they never got out of hand, but someone needed to get kicked out or something like that. Actually, one story comes to mind where I forget his name, and thank God. Let's just call it what it is. A total crackhead was in the house, but he was a really, really nice guy and a really sweet guy. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
Junkie Jeff.
Yes. Oh my God, Okay. So you might have been here for this story, and him. So he was a weird guy and definitely cracked out of his mind, not coke, crack, and really, really liked crack. Let's put it that way. And so he came to the house, and we had a very few number of rules in the house. One of them was no heroin, one of them was no crack, and that's about it, and no fighting, and that's about it. There's like very few rules we thought were reasonable, and anything else, literally anything else you want to do. You want to fuck in the hallway, go fuck in the hallway. Do whatever you want. But this guy, he came in and he knew the rule of no crack in the house, and he started doing crack in the house, and I caught him, and I said, "Listen, man, like I caught you doing crack in the house. You knew you couldn't do crack in the house. I got to kick you out. Like you're leaving." And I was just an asshole at the point where I wasn't one for warnings. I was like, "You're out. It's over. Sorry." And he started to cry. He just broke down, bawling in front of me in the kitchen. He's like, "I'm so sorry. I thought we were friends. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do crack." Like it was just this weird cliche moment in my life where I was like, "What the fuck is happening right now?" Like I'm kicking this guy in my house for doing crack, and he's like breaking down, apologizing in front of me, and he, like snot, like from the movies, like a sitcom joking kind of crying in front of me, and we just had to find one of his friends and help him out, and that might have been you actually who helped him out in the end. I don't know, but he had to leave, but there's a lot of weird moments like that in that house. But looking back, it's like, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to just be a part of. Like if you go through life without those kind of weird moments, I don't know, it's better to have them, I think.
Speaking of Jeff in particular, actually, I'm gonna see. Do you remember his buddy Matt that Kent used to come by? He would play bass. He was a total like space case. They almost fought in the living room the one night, and you.
I don't think so. No. Was he? He had a lot of tattoos.
No, that's a different Matt.
Okay.
No, you're thinking of.
Because that Matt was. I remember that Matt. He was pretty cool. But no, I don't remember Jeff's buddy.
No. Well, he OD'd a few years back.
He
and
died?
Yep. Died. Jeff was there, but Jeff has had a miraculous turnaround.
Really? Fuck off.
I can't not commend it enough because
really
was with
that's amazing.
Junkie
that's amazing.
Jeff. That was his name,
That's Oh, yeah. I knew. I knew firsthand. That's incredible. I'm so happy to hear that. Honestly,
moved to Norwood, spent 60 days out there to get off methadone.
That's awesome.
Was told by the doctor that he has an enlarged liver, so he's quit drinking. Like it's wild.
That's awesome. I love to hear that kind of stuff. I prefer to hear stories where people are lucky enough to not get hooked on stuff over their lifetime. But the second best kind of story is someone who did get hooked and got over it, which is, I can't imagine how hard it is. And I know from just experience, not personal experience, but seeing people firsthand, it never leaves you, addiction, right? It literally never leaves you. It's just something you have to live with. And people who don't end up having to fight that are lucky as hell. And I've seen a lot of people do a lot of drugs who never fought addiction. Like 90% of the people who did a lot of cocaine in my life never got addicted to it. And I'm so thankful for that, because I've seen the 10% that were addicted, or at least I would call addicted, were fucked up, and that's part of the whole, why I left is the scene and the lifestyle is a lot of people who really hung around were the people who were really fucked up. And what weirded me out was the restaurant industry, right? Like the restaurant industry really attracted people. I don't know if it was one way or the other, but people who worked in restaurants in the kitchen were all doing cocaine. Like it was just a thing, and I never got the connection between those two. Like, is it and first of all, they don't pay you that much. I don't know how these people were affording cocaine. Like legitimately, I remember one guy, I won't name drop, but like he worked at a restaurant like part-time or maybe full-time, like barely. And he did cocaine every fucking day. And I was like, how the hell could you afford this? And it's like, that's not a cheap drug to do, but he found a way. And I know he wasn't stealing. He wasn't jerking dudes off like for money, nothing like that. But he just made it work. I think he just didn't eat or something. I don't know. But that's, like I said, that's part of the reason why I just really, really, in a small part, like I said, there's no straw that broke the camel's back, as it were, but that's contributed to it. Seeing the people around me just kind of degrade, to use a harsh term, and drugs were a big part of that. But I really, honestly, it gives me it gave me joy, and it still gives me joy to see people do drugs responsibly. I think there's not much better reward in life than being able to do drugs responsibly.
On that note, where are you these days with the illicit substances? Is there anything a little too common? Is there anything that not at all that you wish was around? Where are you at these days?
Yeah, no, I can definitely speak to that. I've got coffee right here. White Claw. It's still alcoholic. It's clear, doesn't burn my throat, but I still drink probably too much, but not a lot, I would call it, especially given my past. Used to drink a lot, and now I don't, so that's nice. But I do enjoy drinking still, and I smoke the tiniest amount of weed. Smoked a tiny little bowl. You might have seen me earlier tonight,
I did.
like I used to actually with you. I never was a big pot smoker, but I always enjoyed like the tiniest little bit. But if I
remember
had,
having to twist your arm to smoke hash the one time.
oh god, yeah,
You were
and
like,
that
no,
and
no, no, no. And then I was like, just take it to your room and enjoy it later. And you were like, that's how it did. That's how it had to
yeah,
be done.
yeah, and that's I felt you're bringing back memories, dude. So, and that was like the first time I did mushrooms was really cool experience with my friends. The second and third time I did it, I just had to go into my room and be by myself. I don't know what it was, and I can't remember if it's acid or mushrooms, but one of those kind of psychedelics. But ever since, like, I took it that first time, had a good time, other than a couple parties here and there. Every time I took a psychedelic, I had to be by myself, and a couple times, the worst time I've ever had in my life was on acid, like the worst. And I would never be one of those people who are like, everyone should do drugs, everyone should try acid, because some people just shouldn't. If you do acid for your first time and you have a trip like I had that one time, which I did acid several times and only had that bad trip once. But if you have that your first time, like that's the worst thing. I thought I was beyond thinking I was going to die. You know how people have like panic attacks and all that stuff and they think they're going to die? This was like next level. I thought like I was in another dimension getting fucking tortured. Like I was just in my head that much. Now, the great thing about acid is if you just wait it out and get over that hump, usually it's a pretty good time. And it was, but I will never forget that. It's like, I can't think of a better word. It was torture. It was mental torture. Like I was just so inside my own head. It blew my fucking mind. And in a way, looking back, I hate that I went through it. But at the same time, I'm glad I can kind of look back and see and be like, man, that was so messed up. But very few people get to experience that kind of mental head fuck, where very few things phase me now mentally because of stuff like that. But anyways, where the hell was I going with that story? But there's lots of drugs going on with those parties and things like that. As far as now, yeah, I just drink a little. Like my cocaine is coffee now. That said, cocaine was a hell of a drug. I can put it that way. That shit, oh man, just makes you feel good. And that's all drugs are, just makes you feel good. But you got to be careful because that's what's the saying? Chasing the dragon. That's a real thing. Nothing will be as good as that first high. So as long as you're conscious of that, as long as you know that you catch yourself, or as long as you are able to catch yourself in that moment of chasing the dragon, it's like, oh, I'm just doing more and more to get that high I'm never going to get, then you can stop yourself. But if you don't realize that, man, it can go down dark quick. Sorry to get depressing there.
No, so yeah, you're saying caffeine and booze, eh? Caffeine is the most. Caffeine users are the most entitled of all drug users.
No, the most entitled drug users are recovering alcoholics. and the cliche goes to the vegans too. Holy shit. I can say that. It's like, I don't know, a gay person using the F word or faggot or whatever. Like I could use that word with like my sister who's a vegan. Oh my God. She's the most stereotypical vegan you've ever met in your life. Like she jams it down your throat like a missionary Mormon. Like holy fuck. And it's that stereotype rings true for me. But at the same time, they are just trying to help and do their thing and all that fun stuff. But oh my God, yeah, if you overdo it, no one's gonna follow your cause.
Yeah, I like the question. Oh, you still eat meat? Like it's being
Oh, that doesn't even start to cover it, man. Anytime. I think I sent a picture of like a lasagna I made the other day to my family Facebook chat, and my sister's like, I hope you enjoyed your cruelty beef or something like that. It's like, oh my God, just let me enjoy this. Please, I know there's suffering involved. I don't want to feel guilty about it. There's so much to feel guilty about. Please just give me this. All I want is lasagna. But at the same time, I totally get where they're coming from, but I'm just too selfish in the end. If we cared about every fucking cause, everyone would be mentally unstable. But I don't want anyone to follow that, because you got to care about something. But I don't know. I just don't like people who get mad at others for not caring about their cause. That's all. But that's what you got to do. You got to fight for your cause and try to convert people, as it were. But I don't know. I don't like it. It feels salesman-y to me,
Fair enough. Well, you've never really been one for people pushing agendas. Like I know religion doesn't go too far with you.
No. That said, the older I get, the more I appreciate it in a historical context. I went to church. This provides some context. I went to church, I think from the time I was like 14 to 18 or something like that. And I was never religious, ever. Never believed in God, nothing like that. But so captivating and, had such a pull was the audience of churchgoers and the community they had. I just said, I have to be a part of this. Like, they're so happy. They're so nice to each other. This little, forgive my wordage, little retarded thing in the corner that is God to them, I could ignore that, just for the rest of it. And quite frankly, I wish I still went to church. I really liked it. I really like the people. We have a great church community around here. I know that. It's hard for me. I don't think they ever found out that I didn't believe in God, because it's so easy to fake. And not that I faked it, but like, you don't have to fake it. You just go, you do the fucking things that they do. You sing the songs. I love singing the songs, and no one ever asks you. It's a weird thing. No one ever asks you, hey, do you believe in God when in a church? It just doesn't happen. Yeah. If they did, they might have kicked me out. But no, I'm envious of a lot of those communities. They really are tight knit and have a great social support network. I wish we had more of that in atheism, whatever that means. But yeah, it's and that's just me trying to grow up and get better as a person as best I can, understanding other people's perspectives, which is fucking hard for me as a religion, or as someone who looks at religion, because I don't get it. I one thing I did when I was young, I used to debate religion with a lot of good debate, talk about it, and I was like, you know what? Their whole argument is based on the Bible, so that's what I got to do. I got to read the Bible. So I went against my own fucking will and I read the Bible cover to cover. And after I closed that book, I said to myself, that was the dumbest shit I've ever done in my life. There's no point to that. No religious argument has anything to do with the Bible. Like, is completely, every fucking thing in that book can be interpreted any way you want. Yeah. Like, that was, again, just my opinion. But I thought it was a funny thing, a very learned experience, where I was like, oh yeah, if I'm going to debate with these guys, I should know their stuff, and I go and learn their stuff. I was like, well, that was horseshit. I guess that's why I'm, arguing against it. But it was interesting. Some of the stories were good, but it's drivel, complete drivel. Just my opinion.
Hey, what I was wondering, why don't you talk a bit about, now, the band started while you were in college.
Yep.
Then you went on kind of from the band to working with Trent University in the post-secondary field. Was there any, going into that job, did anybody have any preconceived notions from your antics in the college punk band?
No, not at all. Education, for the most part, at least in my experience, is a wonderful thing. They're almost as open-minded as the punk scene. And the best thing about the punk scene is the open-mindedness. Like, people will almost let you do anything and accept you and not be weirded out by it. And they'll just say, hey, just like I said about religion, they'll say, hey, you're completely different to me, and I don't understand what you're doing, but there's nothing wrong with that. And not only that, but like, do you want to be my friend? Like, that's the punk scene. That's the better part of the punk scene. There's bad parts to it too. but that's the best part. And education was a little like that. It wasn't as good. At least where I got educated, it was very accepting, and that was amazing. Like I think at some point I was teaching university classes with a mohawk, and it was just no one cares. No one comes up to you and say, "What are you, fucking poser? Like, who are you trying to be? Whoever in the 80s or whatever?" Like no one says that. They say, "Oh, he's just figuring himself out," and that's fine by me. And I got a lot of that. Now that said, in university, like by the time I was in the band and stuff, I was doing. Is that a Colt 45?
Okanagan cider, 2-liter.
I just remember you having duct tape Colt 45s each one of your hands. Sorry.
That was old English, Brad.
Yeah, it just got me back in the headspace there for a second. But no, in education, yeah, they're very accepting. And even some of my students came to my shows and they thought it was hilarious that their teacher played in a punk rock band. They thought it was awesome.
No, I found it, not going to Trent, but knowing people that work there, I found it to be a kind of a cool position to see these people that I know are teaching seminars all week long, and then on the weekends they're just trashed, just completely out of it.
I'm still the same way. I don't drink as much, but well, I shouldn't say I'm still the same way, but I still have the same ethos. I have a reputable job, or we have employees and stuff at our company, and still get plastered on the weekends, quite frankly. Just now it's just 1 day a week instead of 5. But I appreciate that. I do. I we never felt special doing it, but I like the what's the word, like juxtaposition, like being two characters or many characters in a life. I always liked, and I liked having friends from very different backgrounds too. That was, I don't know what a good word for it is, but maybe freeing, where I could, I had people from India that came in to be psychologists, and just the next hour I'd be hanging with people like you who are kind of like hippie and just smoking weed and trying to have a good time in life. And then the next hour I'd be in a meeting with my professor. It just, it's just so many perspectives on the world just made things interesting. I always liked that.
You were talking earlier about the venues in Peterborough that you enjoyed playing, 2 of which now are closed, the Spill and Pig's Ear. I was wondering, have you kept up at all with what's going on in Peterborough as far as the venues? Because I mean, the Garnet's now closed.
Really?
Pretty much everywhere for a small band has shut down. It's like Red Dog is the smallest now.
Well, let's just appreciate they were there.
Yeah.
Like, how lucky were we to be there at that time? When, like, imagine being a up and coming punk band or anything band now, or anything musician now. Like, where are you gonna play? You've got nothing. And I don't know. I don't want to get all sobby, but I feel sorry for those kids trying to figure stuff out now. Because like I said, how we started is like me shaking on the phone, being like, "Can I play at your venue?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, "Really?" And it just worked. It just happened. And there's no avenue for that now. And I don't want to get all sobby about it. Fuck them. You know what? Fuck them. if they want to figure it out, they'll figure it out. We figured it out, but it's tough now. It's tougher now for sure. But that said, man, I don't think we should get into this, but you and I think we're both kicked out of both those bars. And for I think we would both agree, as our biased opinion, for pretty fucked up reasons. Like, shit got weird at the end. Shit got weird in the sense they were just power tripping.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there was some sort of authority figure, or not authority figure. It's like they thought they were fulfilling this role in society that it was their duty to fulfill as like bartenders and bar owners, where if they got one complaint was enough to kick someone out, to ban a band, to ostracize someone. And that got very weird very quickly, to the point where someone would accuse you of something, like literally like I don't, this is a weird fucking analogy, but like the witch trials, right? Like, as long as someone accused you of something, that was enough to get you kicked out of the bar. and that was really fucking weird, especially for someone like you and me who were loyal patrons to these bars, who are really trying to be friendly people. Yeah, we got drunk, but like so did everyone, and never really said anything, I don't know, heinous, horrible. Excuse me, but it was sad at the end. I felt bad for those bars, and I don't want to be like, oh yeah, you kicked me out, and now you closed down, and make a perfect connection between those two things. But I think there is a connection. I think there is a connection where it became a ethos of the bar to go power hungry on people and say, this is our morality, and we're going to apply it to you, whether you like it or not. And there was no conversation there. There was no compromise. There was no discussion. There's nothing. It's just it was like a dictatorship. And in some cases, particularly, I know you as well as I were very close friends with Andrea.
Yep.
At Pig's Ear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she that was the one that hurt the most, was getting kicked out of that bar. The Spill was my home, but that bartender was the biggest bitch I ever saw in my life. And I'm not surprised. And the bar owner was completely disconnected from that bar, didn't know what was going on. So like that was just unfortunate. That's whatever. I can let that slide. But Andrea and I, and you and Andrea, I'm sure, were friends, and that was fucked. Like to get kicked out of that bar, I've never had a friend turn on me so quickly for such loose accusations before. And she was so in the headspace of, this is even she wasn't the owner, she was just the bartender. She's in the headspace of defending this bar from what I don't know, us apparently, and it broke my heart. It really did. I loved her. I loved that bar. I loved being there on Tuesday nights. And I can't believe she did that. I still can't believe it. It's sad.
Yeah, I had talked to Andrea defending a guy who
wait, you're back. Oh, hold on. You froze there for like a minute.
Oh.
I didn't hear or anything.
All right,
yeah,
no,
sorry.
I was saying I've spoken to Andrea since she worked at the LC, and it just feels like she was defending.
Oh, time to get hype, you ask me.
All right, are we back?
Yeah, I think you're back. Hello?
All right. That's gonna be a fucking edit job. No, what I was saying is it just seems like she was so gung-ho about defending her fellow employees, regardless of whether they were right or wrong. And then after, when the place got shut down and I would see Andrea, it was like an awkward stance because she's no longer defending her employee at this point. It was just an asshole.
How'd she feel about that? Like, did she have any regrets or like reflection on it?
Nothing ever voiced, but there was just I don't know, it was just awkward. There was an awkward hesitation that was never there. She was one of the most open, fun people. I mean, going to that bar was like cheers.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. No, you're gonna make me emotional about it because fuck, I miss that place. I miss her. Like, everything minus the kicking me out of her bar for something I didn't do. I miss that place a lot. It's like, we were like 23 or 4 or something, but it's like it feels like the place of my youth. Anyway, let's talk about something else. That's too sad. That's too depressing. Fuck that shit. Oh man. Holy smokes.
What gives you hope? What gives you hope for the music scene?
Nothing, dude. No, that's not true. Okay, no, I take that back. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have opened with that. What gives me hope is the internet. I love the internet. I really do. I think we need a platform that is like what we had, those small venues in a local town. But the problem with the internet is it's so hard to connect, right? Music is so much about that personal connection. And you only really appreciate that as someone who's played on stage before. And that cliche of like, what is it? Like you get from the audience you give back to the audience what you get from them, some bullshit like that.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely true. Like the audience and you are playing the show that night. Like I've played some of my best shows ever to some of the what I would call worst audiences ever that just did not enjoy our energy, even though we were fucking giving it, did not enjoy our music, even though we were playing it better than we ever had. And I've played many shows where we played terribly, including our Battle of the Bands, where we won, where we played terribly and people loved it. The audience lapped it up. They fucking had the best night ever. Like it was you have to relate. It's a relationship between you and the audience. And when you don't have that, and if you can't cultivate that, and sometimes it's nothing about cultivation, it's just about luck. You know, sometimes you walk into it. Sometimes the audience is just in the mood that night, you know, and it's 100% that. And if we can't figure out a way to cultivate that on the internet, it's not going to work. But if we can, then we've got something very, very special. Because if we can make a guy from India watching a guy from America playing a show in his bedroom or whatever feel special, feel connected, you've got something going. And Twitch is a big part of that. One of my favorite things about Twitch is going on when, oh my god, I do this like Friday nights when I'm wasted. I'll go on and organize the list. I'll sort by musicians, and I'll organize the list by least viewers to most viewers. So like you go and you watch people who have 0 people watching them, and you get in there and you just start to watch them. And you comment on their videos, say, hey man, I really enjoy this. I'm not making this fucking up. So there's one I went to like last week or the week before on a Friday night because I love to do this. He was from China and he was playing on the streets of China, or what he was definitely Chinese. He looked like he was in China. I'm not sure for sure, but he was definitely Chinese, and he was playing a guitar on the streets of China, like in a crowded fucking street. And he was playing to no one in his Twitch stream. If you don't know what Twitch is, it's like a streaming platform where you can play to people, right? And so he's playing this, and I joined, and I was the only one watching. And honestly, sometimes I just feel like an asshole where I'm like, hey man, fucking try harder. I don't know. I just say stupid shit sometimes, you know. But for whatever reason, for this guy, I don't know, something, I just felt something with him. And I was like, I just felt like being really nice, which I'm not always really nice. But this time I felt like, and I was like, hey man, you're doing a great job. Like, I really like this stream. You're going to be amazing. You're going to be a big Twitch guy one day. And I shit, you know, I'm not making this up. He just started bawling in the middle of the street in China. And he's just crying. He's like, thank you so much. No one's ever said that to me. Thank you so much. And I got emotional too. I was like, I wasn't joking, but I was just trying to make his day. Like, I was just trying to be nice. But it's like, this guy fucking needed it. Like, he had nothing before this. And just some random dude from Canada, like, commenting. He was probably playing, like, I don't know, midday in China or something, commenting late at night saying, hey man, I think you're doing a great job. Keep it up. Was just over the top for this dude. And those kind of moments we need to figure out how to capture, but not sell. That's a big difference, right? Once you start to sell it, cheapens it a little bit. Not completely, and there's a fine balance there, but like, we can't just push it as something money to be made off of. Just like when you play music and I played music, none of us were dumb enough to think we were making money. Like, we were all dumb, but none of us were that dumb where we thought we were going to make money and make a living of it, right? Like, we would dream and stuff like that, but in reality, we knew what was going on. And I see a lot of that in the Twitch guys Twitch guys and girls who are doing the music stuff. And I love to support that as much as possible, but I wish there's a way we could cultivate that connection. And the only way I found out to do it is to get really drunk on a Friday night and watch music streamers in China. But I'm sure there's a better way.
What do you think
but I haven't figured it out.
What do you think about the technological progression towards like the metaverse and things like VR?
Oh God. I don't want to talk about that.
No?
I just know nothing. Like, I just know nothing about it.
Like,
who knows?
You've been into it, like being, you know.
I love VR. Like, I love VR. I love video games. I love the internet. Like I said, I love all that crap. But I can't comment on like that kind of future. I have no idea, you know, if it's good, if it's bad, if it's fun, if it's not. I don't fucking know. Like, and you know what? I'm gonna go as far as say no one knows at this point.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. It's captivating. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna read about it, but I have no fucking idea. No idea.
All right. Well, you know what? We're nearing the end here. I see a light at the end of the tunnel. The podcast finish line is in the view field. Well,
What's your closing question? What's the last thing that you like to get out of your podcastees, if that's a word?
well, it's been different for each one, but I'll hit you with one that I did the Grinning Barretts talking about punk rock show bathrooms. What was the worst bathroom you
Oh
came
God,
across during your years playing, touring, going to shows?
that's tough. That is tough. Holy shit. Literally, that is tough. It's, you know what? I don't remember the venue, and I'm glad, because I shouldn't name drop them. It's I can tell you the city. It's Hamilton by a long shot. Yeah. Listen, people in Hamilton are fucked, and they do fucked up things in their bathrooms. That's all I can say. But oh man, what a that's a good question. That is insight into the world of music touring you don't want to know. Oh man, actually I take that back. Rockfest, Montreal Rockfest. Those are the worst bathrooms. Actually, no, that's by far. Yep, people would literally walk through other people's shit and piss to go to the bathroom. Yep, that takes it.
Yeah, I do remember the group in the porta potty.
Oh, that was so messed up. Oh my god. Oh man, remember? I don't know if you were there for that, but there's one dude when we came back from one of the shows. I think it was Go Go Bordello, where we came back, and one guy, forgive me, I'm going to stand up and show my shorts here, maybe. And he's in the crowd of like 200,000 people, and all he does is hold people back, and he just whips out his dick and starts pissing. And he just pushes them back, and he's just pissing down here. And like, that's how he went to the bathroom at the festival, because like, and when you see that, you're like, oh, that's fucked up, just to piss in front of a bunch of people and just hold them back so you don't piss on them. But then you go to the washrooms and you're like, yep, that guy figured it out. This is not his first festival. Oh man, oh shit, there's a lot of good memories in the music scene. A lot of good memories.
Actually, on the topic of memories, before I let you go here, one thing I wanted to bring up, I've been wanting to get Steve on the podcast because I wanted to talk.
As you should.
Do you remember the great dairy heist of Stewart Street?
What's the great dairy heist?
Do you remember Marcus, big guy that moved in there towards the end?
I remember Marcus.
And he goes, Tyler, there's my beers were in the fridge. Did you have anybody over last night that would have swiped my beers? And I was like, last night I had nobody over.
Not last night.
That my chocolate milk was missing from the fridge. And then,
Yours?
Yeah, my chocolate milk. And then he goes, okay. And then all of a sudden you were missing cream and milk that were open liters. And then there was some dude that broke in, reached into Steve's house, Steve's room, sorry, took his cream liqueur and like our cartons of cream and chocolate milk and like milk. It was the great dairy heist in Stewart Street.
What the
You don't remember that, eh?
No, I don't. Not at all, no. I got, my car got robbed one night, and they took my Bluetooth converter, like from your car cigarette lighter to your phone, or Bluetooth radio, so you could play it on your phone via Bluetooth, right? And they left all my CDs, like, of which I had like probably dozens, all my money, like change I had in there. They literally just wanted to steal that. Like, there's one thing on their mind and one thing only. I'm starting to think there's some sort of conspiracy here where someone was fucking with us, just starting to steal one type of thing throughout the years just to mess with us. Apparently it was dairy that night, but it was Bluetooth the other.
So no future for you in music, eh? You don't see yourself ever picking up the bass, even?
That's a tough one.
Rock, but something slow, something.
No, it wouldn't be slow. If I played it, it'd be fast. By the way, okay, wait. Before we go out, you got to do your cutaway. I put effort into finding these specific half decent sets, not sets, like songs, Piss Locust did live. You got to play them, either like throughout the show or at the end of it or something, because I put effort into that, Tyler.
All
Don't
right,
take
you know what? Normally I get people to plug what they're doing, but it sounds like you're just pushing real estate, which I'm sure you don't want to plug here right now.
No, definitely not. No.
So set up these songs, sell them to the people.
Hmm. Let me hold on. I actually took a note of which songs I selected because I knew I'd forget. Oh yeah, okay. Now that I look, I really like these songs actually. Yeah, well, I do. Like I said, I was not a good music writer. I was not a good bass player or anything like that. But I think I was good at lyrics. I really am proud of that. And so one of the songs is called "Having Fun with Hypotheticals," and it's just it's a song about how interesting the world would be if everything was kind of opposite in like a historical sense. I don't know. You'd have to listen to it, but I had a lot of fun with that. And I think even the name's kind of clever, where it says "having fun with hypotheticals." Hypothetically, what if everything was different? What would the world be like? And that's what I wrote about. And I think that's a lot better than stupid love songs, Callum. Just fucking with you. Another one I set up, and the best part of that song, in which you won't hear the lyrics, of course, because it's so muddled, is and I'll link it to you after we're done or tomorrow or whatever. Is it's that recording of the house party, and beyond just being a song I am proud of, lyrically, I think it's really cool energy to see what a college house party was like. I know like lots of people know what that's like, but just from our perspective, like what it was like, and things that went on, dogs running around barking, people moshing, other people on their phones, other people recording, other people holding up microphones. It's just a shit show, and it was a ton of fun. But I look back on it, and I was like, oh, that's super cool. Even if I wasn't part of it, I think that would be pretty cool, and I'd be happy to share that with other people. The second one is called Life Takes a Holiday, and that's a ripoff of most of my lyrics and songs are ripoffs of other things. But this one's a ripoff of a MASH episode. If you remember MASH, the show in the 80s. An
I
episode.
also remember you having the complete DVD box set in the living room at our house too. Forever.
It's right over there. Yeah, and then one of the MASH episodes is called it's a show about the Korean War, and one of the MASH episodes was called Death Takes a Holiday, which is about it's about doctors in war, and for once in the war they don't have any casualties, they don't have any people coming into the hospital, so for the first time ever they have to start dealing with their boredom and what happens when death takes a holiday. So I tried to spin that into a song that's called Life Takes a Holiday, and I won't do any spoilers, not that anyone's going to look it up, but I do my best to kind of spin off that and
Don't spoil MASH, man.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil that 40-year-old show for anyone. But anyways, but it was a good set, and most of these I picked because they just make us look as good as possible, quite frankly. But at the same time, they were songs we enjoyed playing for the most part, and I certainly enjoyed writing. And the last song is what the hell was the last song? Oh yeah, So Long and Thanks for All the Money, which is just kind of a sarcastic perspective of rich people, talking about poor people, basically saying, it's also, I wrote a lot of songs about life and death, which is kind of like, maybe maybe I've had a lifelong existential crisis or something, but it's about like how do rich people feel at the end of their life. When they, especially particularly atheistic rich people who know they're not going to any better world or anything like that, but they can look back on their life and being like, at least I had it better than those poor fuckers. And it's a song kind of about that, and it's a sarcastic look at that. So long and thanks for all the money. Is kind of an entitlement of that, and you should play those things right now. But I do want to say thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's been extremely fun. I was not expecting you to invite me. I was not expecting to follow Jackie, who's amazing, and I won't throw a tantrum even in my knowledge of not being as good as him, but as I learned from my past shows. But I do sincerely appreciate you having me, and it's good to connect with you. And I hope we get to connect better in the future with not just me talking about myself and my band, because I want to hear about what's going on with you too, Tyler.
Well, I agree, Brad. It would be great to catch up with you there, right?
Agreed.
It was good to sit down and talk with you here. I did really enjoy this. But,
thank you, man. I appreciate it.
You know, I said I was going to let you go, but I got one more question before I let you go.
Is it another plug? Because we don't have any albums.
Nope. What the fuck's going on with that corgi?
Oh my God. I literally said to my friends, I was talking to a buddy of mine before the podcast. I said, listen, if Tyler wants to be a good podcast, it'd just be me and him talking about Rick, my corgi, the whole time. I've got 1,000 videos. I'll show you all of them. Actually, some of them are on YouTube. Just him as a puppy, him just running the river. It's awesome. Yep. Rick is great. The corgi is great. Thanks for asking. He's the luckiest dog in the world.
That's awesome, man. It's good to see.
That's such an awesome question. Oh my God.
All right, Dad, Brad. It was good chatting with you.
Thank you. Honestly, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, man. Of course. Take care. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
And if we get lots of views on this one, you'll have me back, right?
Yep.
All right. Thanks, man. We'll talk later.
Plug, though.
Yeah.
All right, Brad. Night.
See you, dude. Peace.